V Monroe talked about it.
All these businesses.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we don't have it like that in Czech Republic. We have like some restaurants, some places that have, smoking sign, but usually they always have a...
Oh, I officially have just as many subscribers as Jenny McDermott does. In your face, bitch!
Yeah.
Maybe you would have had more if your fucking channel stayed up. Ah!
Yeah.
Sorry. I've been rubbing that in her fucking face all day.
Ego, I put up the video, one of the videos about that woman in the chat.
God, dude.
Oh, okay.
I heard of this. I'm like, this has to be fucking parody. There's no fucking way this can be that retarded.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, some crazy woman. What do you expect with the way the
Is there any
world
other
is going now? Yeah. Some crazy ass kid. I mean, she was taking care of the kid, they said, for a while. She was like a member of the family. And they were leaving the kid with this lady all day, and then she hid that I don't know how you can hide it. She apparently hid that she was schizophrenic, that's pretty difficult to hide. I mean, if you're schizophrenic, that's pretty much out there. It's very hard to hide schizophrenia, But apparently she hid it and then had a boyfriend, and then found out the boyfriend was married and got upset about it. But they're trying to say that he radicalized her and turned her into a Muslim. And when she was wandering around the streets in Russia, that she had on a hijab, and she was saying she did it for Allah.
Yeah, I posted the New York Times link to the article. It has a video in there.
Yeah.
Wait, there's two videos. I don't know if this one has the second video, but there's another one from a different angle that clearly shows that they are the fucking instigators of the beating. V shows it in his video, but I can link you to that video, I guess. There was a Daily Fail fucking thing on. I think that one might have had the other video in it.
But mate, when it comes to majority of, I don't know if minorities, this sort of like cultural mindset, like this sort of like poverty-stricken, and I've seen it in quite places all around the world. It just seems like anytime I see a group of people that are told that they're victims or whatever, you see how their sort of mentality and how they sort of like react to their immediate surroundings. It's just ultimately barbaric, So this story of these women, it's just like, and the thing about it is, because a lot of these women are not allowed to be held responsible. I mean, look at it. You've got two mixed race girls here, looks like, and a black woman, a black girl. You just think, oh my, I mean, men, you better run and hide, because God.
Well, they tried to claim that these three women tried to claim that no one helped them. In the Daily Mail fucking thing, they have a screenshot of them beating up a white dude, and the white dude was trying to break up the fight.
Wait a minute, this is London. Look, this is London. Bloody hell! My neck of the woods. Yeah, the bus looks like. Yeah, this looks like a bus. Wait a minute, I'm gonna put my mic on mute and listen to this properly. Bloody hell, London. All right, just a sec.
I think so, actually. Hang on. This is Albany. I assumed it was New York.
Yeah, it could be. I didn't hear the story.
Yeah, I literally just heard it yesterday morning. So.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the shit that's coming out is crazy. But actually, I watched on TYT, of course, and they were saying like they couldn't believe the woman did it and blah blah blah, and then they started making excuses and saying like the woman was radicalized by the guy, and they're looking for the guy because the guy they think might be involved in it, and it's obviously like all he did was sleep with her, find out she was crazy, was married already, and then she was just fucking a loony. You know, she was a lunatic. You know, but they're like, oh yeah, but we got to blame a man for it because obviously it's not a woman's problem. The woman didn't do it. You know, it wasn't a woman's fault. You know, for being crazy.
I love this at the bottom of the Daily Fail fucking article. It's Jerry Hall's fucking wedding where she's fucking marrying Rupert Murdoch. Yeah, totally not hypergamy or anything like that, bitch. Not at all.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just marrying one of the richest motherfuckers in the world, but and I've already hit the wall, so I need some motherfucker to pay my bills.
Well, look at fucking Mariah Carey marrying this billionaire that she just met that was just a fan of hers.
Really?
Because her husband thought she was crazy because I guess apparently she was a drinker. She likes to drink wine and she's like has an alcohol problem. And he got tired of dealing with her shit and left her because she was a fucking drama queen, you know, and he left her. And then she goes out and finds like the first guy to fucking marry her, and he's a billionaire.
Well, I don't know how these men do it. You know, I just don't know how they do it. You know, because I also, when I used to date a lot of women, I used to really scrutinize them. I want to know who your ex-boyfriend is. If you're going to mention your ex-boyfriend, I want to see the guy. I want to see what he looks like. I want to see what he does. Because if this guy is a moron, there is no way in God's green earth I'm going to do anything with you. Number two, I want to find out who your family, who your friends are. If you have a friend that I've known around the area and the guy's or the woman's a complete moron, there is no way we're going to do anything. And a lot of the times, a lot of guys, they don't seem to put the same scrutiny on these women. So these women just get away with fucking murder. And it's just, I mean, a billionaire, it shows you how simpish some of these guys are. They don't get, they're morons. Mariah Carey, who gives a fuck? I don't care if it's the Queen of Sheba. She's a moron. Drop her out. Maybe a backseat back shot. That's about it. Nothing else, you know. But these women, God Almighty, save us all.
Yeah, well, when you look at like somebody like Mariah Carey, she's famous because she can sing. That's all she's got. She's a singer. You know, why? If you're a billionaire and you made a company that's worth billions of dollars, you know, basically if she gets with him and then she stays with him for a couple of years, she's already hit the wall because she's already in her 40s. She can't have any more kids. And so she's not going to be able to rope him in with that. But if she can stay with him for 5-10 years, she can turn around and divorce him and take him for like $500 million.
You think these fucking billionaire men would learn from other men's mistakes? No, they have to make their own fucking retard mistakes, don't they?
Right, and that's why I believe a lot of the conspiracy theories guys that think that billionaires, that these mega rich people run the world. You can that they're narcissistic or they're psychopaths. That doesn't follow through because you find a lot of these men doing things like this. This is a simpish behavior. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative to women that have children. I know a couple, but there's no way I'm going to like be with a woman that has a child. It just doesn't make sense to me. You've got to have. If I was ever to go with a woman, it wouldn't happen anyway. But I'll just say to a woman, listen, your ex-partner, he's out of the door. Your child, your daughter, they're out of the door because there's no way it will work. It never works. And for a billionaire to be so stupid, it serves him right. It serves the guy right. She should take him for everything. The guy's a moron.
Yeah, if I was a billionaire, right, I'd be fucking extra careful of hooking up with any bitches.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, I would have that funny thing that everybody keeps talking about where if you even sleep with a woman, you have to get like verbal consent on video and on like you like sign a contract, you know, and all that stuff before you even get your dick out, you know.
I'd have my lawyer present for every single like hand holding kiss.
Yeah,
exactly. I'd be married to my lawyer and she'd just be there, right?
Yeah.
I'd be gay married to that motherfucker.
Yeah. I'd have him sit in the corner and the whole time while everything's going on, and he could be like making notes, you know, just in case they try to fuck with you, you know.
But it just shows you that a lot of these rich boys, you know, they probably never got mentally burnt in the past or got enough pussy at an early age to know that these women are dangerous. because you just think to yourself, you're not really smart, are you? You're just not smart whatsoever, and it's good for him, good for her. I mean, Mariah Carey. I mean, God. I mean, come on. You're a billionaire. You've got other options. You would think.
Yeah. I know, and she's already hit the wall, and she's chubby now. She's not where she was back in 1990. She's had 2 kids, and she's an alcoholic. You know, she drinks like fucking like wine every fucking night, apparently. So she's
saggy as fuck.
Yeah, and she's a fucking, apparently she's like a drama queen. You know, she's like hard to live with. You know, she's like living with like a 10-year-old kid, apparently. So she's, you know, I don't know why any like rich guy would want to take that on and have anything to do with that. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to have that, you know, in my life, especially from a grown woman that, you know, is she's hit the wall. You know, she's still a decent singer and stuff, but she's hit the wall, and, you know, she's already had her kids, and now she's just looking for somebody to like take care of her, which she doesn't. This is what's funny about feminism. She doesn't need anybody to take care of her. She's probably worth $200 million. She doesn't need anybody to take care of her.
It doesn't work like that, though. From like when they say you're worth, you know, 200 million, that's if you were now going to sell some of your assets or the things that are attached to you. And most of these people, they might be worth 200 million, but they have an expenditure of maybe a couple of million a year, and all of this sort of stuff, and all of that sort of is promulgated upon credit. So, this is what it is. A lot of that stuff, you know, from what I've seen, these women or these guys that supposedly have money, they're deep in all sorts, and they can't fund it. So, and I was having a conversation with a woman the other day. I was basically berating her for a couple of hours. You know, this French bird that I've told you about, Shi-Nu, it's trying to find me. So I've told her, like, look, it's not going to work with you and I, because as I said, I'm a unicorn now, only because I'm not married to you and I'm not living together, because you've been taught this madness. Society has been taught this madness is not working. And then I said to her, you know, look, at the end of the day, you women don't do fuck all. You don't add anything to value. There's, you know, all of that ingenuity we have, the majority of them are men. If you're going to put a comparison to how many women that have done ingenious things in comparison to men, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, a million to one. It's a stupid ratio anyway. Did you know what this woman said? She goes, well, you know, how can you say all of that stuff about women? We give birth. I went, you're gonna try to tell me, you're gonna compare the guy that made the washing machine for you women to have an easy life, the guy that made a mobile phone, the guy that did all of this sort of stuff. You're gonna compare all of that sort of stuff to pregnancy. I said, tell me 5 women that you know that have contributed to mankind. Do you know what this woman said? Guess what this woman said? What? She said, who was that black woman that was on the back of the bus?
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks. Yeah. I said, Rosa Parks that sat on a bus that a man made. Get the fuck out of here. Come on. Can you imagine? Rosa Parks is who this woman said.
Yeah. And even she didn't do anything. And the thing is, everybody talks about Rosa Parks, but there was actually several ladies before her that did it. And that's where she got the idea to do it. And they just talk about her, but there was actually supposed to be like 7 or 8 different like black women that did that before her. You know, but nobody talks about those women.
Are you saying that that some of the black women are actually stealing credit from other black women?
Yeah, exactly. That could never happen, right?
Why? I mean, why shouldn't they? Think about it. The new form of being a millionaire as a woman is to get married and put your husband into paying money. That's the new scam now. And this is why when people were giving Kay Federline a hard time with Britney, I said, why? Why should you? Why should you give Kay Federline a hard time? Why? You know?
Yeah, he's the one guy that fucking actually made out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think who else made out? I think what's her name? What's this woman's name? this black actress. She's a bit crazy. Halle Berry.
That's every black actress.
Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say narrow that shit down.
Yeah, apology. Yeah, narrow it down.
Yeah, you got to
Halle
narrow it down. You're talking about every black actress that has ever lived. You know?
Look, I'm telling you, a lot of black females, they have, not all of them, but a majority of them, and what I tell a lot of females, black females, I tell them, listen, if a few of your sisters are causing a disturbance, you should speak about it, because if you don't say anything about it, but by your silence, you acquiesce to their behavior, but yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad.
Well, I like how they talk about the cultural appropriation, and they're always talking about like white girls that try to act black and look black, and like white guys and white girls that have like dreadlocks and they wear like hip hop clothes and all this stuff, and they're always bitching about that, and then they go out and they try to get like long, straight blonde hair, and they wear wigs, and they wear like white girl clothes, and then they're like, yeah, but that's not cultural appropriation. It's like, well, then what is it? Because you're dressing, you don't have hair like that. You don't have blonde hair. Why are you trying to have blonde hair and then saying somebody else that has dreadlocks or that has like their hair, in braids? Why is that cultural appropriation? But you having blonde hair isn't.
Look, this whole Beyonce fiasco, yet again. Beyonce, if she was so proud to be black, why does she have horse hair, blonde horse hair? Yet again, you see what's going on. A lot of people, they're not going to want to recognize this fact because it goes against the narrative, and it's soul breaking because you think to yourself, there are many things that we need to get under our belt for us to all move forwards. So we can't keep harping on about this stuff. This is degenerative stuff. All of these women trying to usurp what men have done, and a woman told me now, well, it's all right for me to fuck 50, 100 men. It's all right for me to go around giving these guys AIDS because men have been doing it all the time. Well, stop taking the negative stereotypes of men and using it and saying this gives you power. Stop setting the man as the bar. And then saying that he's your enemy. In actual fact, you worship the bastard.
Yeah.
This is double standards. It's all of this stuff is quite sickening.
Do you know the band One Direction?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Yeah. Do you know the story that's just come out in like the last few months of the Lewis Tomlinson?
Didn't you put this up? That he's getting taken.
Yeah. Yeah, he basically got a girl pregnant within like the first few months. They broke up, so I think they were only together for like 2 or 3 months. They broke up, and then he wanted to be close to the baby, and so he bought her a home that's like worth millions of dollars. She's got a car, she's got a house, she's got everything. Then he's renting a place close to her so that he could be close to the baby. Now she's had the baby, and he's spending like apparently $2 million a month or some shit on this house that he's renting, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you need something like that, but that's what he's doing. And then she's now saying like she doesn't want him to have any part of the baby's life, and they're going to court, and she wants money from him, but she doesn't want to let him see the kid. So that's why she had the kid. It's not about him being able to see the kid or have anything to do with the kid. She just fucked him and got pregnant so that she could take his money. Because that's the easy way for a lot of these girls to become rich. It's like you don't have to become a star. All you have to do is fuck a star.
Yeah. And with the same French woman I was talking to the other day, I asked her, I said, listen, how many guys have had sex with you? I said, I'm sure you've had several, if not hundreds. I said, be honest with me. I said, you women, even if, I told you her sister is an ex-porn star, she actually just had some work done to her stomach after 2 children, and her boyfriend's paid for that, and she wants to leave her boyfriend. Her mum's living a life of Riley with her new husband. you know, an architect. And I said to her, look at your life and look at the life around you, the people around you. All you women have to do, if worse comes to worse, you just open up your legs. You can't compare this to the plight of a man. You can't do it. But yet again, these women are dishonest felines. Not all of them. It just seems like the majority of them are. They don't want to tell the truth. They don't want to take responsibility. They just want that easy life. They can't even handle having a child. I know some of my friends have married their wives. They can't handle looking after one child. Oh, this is stressful. What do you think?
Yeah, why'd you have a baby then? You know, of course it's stressful. Raising a child is stressful. It's mainly stressful to them because they're used to being the center of attention. They want to be the number one person in the relationship, and once they have a baby, they start to realize that they have to come second.
Didn't you say you want Trusham in the Hangout? He's in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Send him a link. Get his ass in here.
That's the thing. Every time I try to put him in the thing, I can't get him. If I put his name into like the invite thing, it doesn't show up.
That's weird.
So I've tried to invite him now like 3 times every week, and it's not showing up. He's got me as his friend on Google Plus, and then I have him as my friend, and it won't show up for some reason. I don't know why.
All right. Well.
Maybe you can grab it and give it to him.
I don't know him. If he has a Twitter, I can send it to him there. I can't send it to him on Facebook because I'm fucking banned. So, yeah.
I wonder how you managed that. Banned off Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got stuck in a perpetual loop of ban, unban, ban, unban. So I was like, fuck it. I got better things to do than to worry about whether or not I'm getting fucking banned or not. Like,
yeah.
Although, to be fair, my productivity at work has gone up to, like, skyrocketed since I fucking haven't been on Facebook. So it's like, fuck it. Why do I need to be here again? All right. Bye. Let the SJW faggots have it.
Yeah.
Social justice warriors. I just find it incredible that people are having arguments and discourse about so much irrelevant things. It's unbelievable. But, you know, keeps me entertained for about 5 minutes.
Well, this is all for like posts that are like 18 months old. It's like, wait, it took you that fucking long? Got nothing else better to do than to troll my old fucking posts?
Saddos.
I don't know. It's like, I'm a busy motherfucker. I can't be going for that shit.
Are both of you going to be around later on for this? Because I missed last week's one as well. I know you were on there, Shi-Nu, but I was out partying, which was okay, but I got back and I was up at 3 a.m. thinking that, what's his name? Magnus. And then I sent him a message. He goes, oh, it's already done. I said, bloody hell. So you both going to be on later on, are you? Because I've got a skedaddle.
I'm going to try and stay as long as I can. Like I said,
yeah, I usually do these about 2 hours long or so.
But I mean, later on, you're going to jump on the Magnus one as well? Or
I've actually got a video I want to make later on about, long story short, there was an online retailer that is just absolutely fucking shit, and I want to call them out. So,
oh, brilliant. Oh, good.
Yep. I managed to successfully scam them, unlike they've successfully scammed a whole bunch of their customers. And to be fair, in the video, I'm going to be giving them the opportunity to get the money that I owe them. So I'm holding their money hostage right now.
Yeah, but look, apologies for having to bail out, but I've got to make my way down to. Do you remember this area called Battersea? Do you? Do you remember Battersea, Frozen Binary? Do you remember that area? Battersea?
No, not really.
Really? Bloody hell!
No, I don't know what to tell you, man.
I mean, you'd never really hung around in London then?
I've only been to London like 3 times.
Ah, gotcha. Ah,
yeah.
Okay. Apologies. I thought you were a frequent visitor. Anyway.
Oh, not at all.
Anyway, well, hopefully I'll see you guys later on there. Shi-Nu, be well.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Toodaloo. All right.
See you.
I mean, I have to start paying more attention. All right, I'm gonna turn on Shovel Knight then. Hang on. Fuck.
Mhm.
So I've been playing my. I got a Wii U from there was a journalist guy I interviewed on my channel a while back, and he sold me this shit for like it's limited. It's the Zelda Wii U, and I got it for like super cheap. So suits me just fine. It suits him just fine. Probably should turn the damn thing off so it doesn't die, but on the tablet at least. There we go. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I ever got into doing video games, I think I'd have a hard time.
Well, I got the
I'm not into video games, but I waste enough time online as it is. I think I just waste all of my time if I did like online and then video games. It's like I wouldn't have any time to do anything else. So I really haven't played video games much since like the 80s when Atari was around.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of time to actually sit down and play games. I wanted the Wii or the Wii U for the Wii Fit, and that's really it. Like, so that's why I wanted to get one for cheap. Just happened to be the right price at the right time. I was like, all right, fine, fuck it. Boom. Enterprising. Of course, these amiibos are fucking pissing me off. Like, they're expensive as fuck, and all they do is flip a bit in the goddamn game. I'll hack the damn thing. Sorry, I'm bitching about games. I shouldn't be doing that here. Oh. It's like, what is that thing on my thing? That's my arm. There we go. Yeah. Lovely.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. What the fuck is wrong?
I never kid you, sir. Or ma'am.
Oh, man. I keep having issues. Like I tried to get on the, I'm in the round table, so why the fuck isn't it doing it? Did I switch out of the round table? Oh, that's why. I switched out of the round table. Oh, fucker.
I wonder what happened to Alicia. She was supposed to be here.
Yeah, I sent it to her on her Twitter. And then I was going to send a message to True Sherm as well. That I sent him a message on his thing, but I had got out of the MGTOW Round Table thing. So when I put the thing, it says message not sent, error, try again. Fucking thing.
Wait, did they ever release the fucking thing for the? I'm trying to find out some shit. There we go. Did they ever fucking actually get this thing out finally? Oh, it did come out. Oh, the NFC adapter for the fucking 3DS took goddamn long enough. $20. I'm not fucking paying that. You kiss my ass. Dealing with Google Plus is like dealing with a drunk Hillary Clinton. You're not wrong. Fucking great. So do you want to talk about this this woman you were telling me about in the pre-chat?
Which one?
The one who got pregnant from fucking was it 3D movies? You say that's what she's claiming? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know more about this than I do. I've only just heard about it.
Yeah. Well, there's actually another one too that I found. I don't know if you've heard it. There's another story of some girl. I forget where she's from. Somewhere, if I remember right, she was somewhere around Chicago or something like that. And she said that she got pregnant from Michael Jackson's Ghost. Only a woman could come up with something like that, right? Got pregnant from Michael Jackson's Ghost.
I don't think you're his type, darling. Just saying.
Yeah. Unless you look like a little boy, you're probably not going to be able to get pregnant by him.
Morning, gentlemen.
Hey, what's up, Trip?
Morning, lady.
Hello.
It's just, it's good to be here. I barely got out of bed because I decided I was going to drink in the middle of the night after I just got through throwing up. So yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Hair of the dog.
Hang on. I gotta plug my headset in. It's dying for some fucking stupid reason.
Oh, I live a life of a rebel, fucking badass for life.
You're tough
My
life.
goodness. I can't even say I'm that badass because I saw a mouse the other night and I fucking jumped like a little schoolgirl. So yeah, that takes that out of element. Jeez.
Yeah.
Which side has the thing on it? Hang on, I can take these off real quick.
Yeah, there's all these kind of videos on the internet where I see that kind of stuff where there's some guy that's all, hardcore gangster, talking all kinds of shit, and then they'll do something like throw a snake at him or a little like mouse or something, and he makes like this squealy little girly sound. It's so hilarious.
Yeah.
He'll go like ah, and it's like, dude, you sure lost that fucking hardcore gangster shit quick.
I do have like this hardcore look demeanor, so like I'm always getting the thug mentality, but it's like once you hear words come out of my face, then you'll realize that I'm white.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, it's like
I'm a human. I'm just a human. So.
Yeah.
So what's the topic for today? It's morning time where I'm at here in beautiful, dull San Diego.
Yeah.
There's no sun.
No sun. No sun.
No sun at all. It sucks.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to rain here today too in Kobe. So it started clouding up about 7 o'clock tonight. So.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I heard you talking about this this woman who took from her former ex or whatnot, and that sounded very that sounded very similar in a lot of ways to what's happening here in America, and it's unfortunate that we're not, in my personal opinion, we're not really focusing on the children, which is what all this is supposed to be about. But it seems like one side is just using the children as a constituents to one up on the other side, it seems like. And it's not right.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it is. When you look at most divorces that happen when the wife has to get money, they, instead of making the husband pay to take care of the kids, he also has to pay to take care of the wife. And it's like, well, you wanted the
biggest kid.
Yeah, you wanted to take the house over, and you wanted the car, and you wanted the dog, and you wanted all that bullshit. So then you pay for it if that's what you wanted. You go get a job and you pay for it. I'm gonna go live my life, and I'll pay for my kids. I'll pay for their clothes. I'll help out that way, but I don't have to pay for all of it.
Well,
this is a two-way street. You have to pay for some of it. I have to pay for some of it. But if you're going to live in my house and I'm going to go live someplace else, I'm not going to pay for your house. You got to pay for your own house. If you can't afford to pay for it, then you shouldn't have asked me to buy it for you.
Well, as you know, a lot of women like to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
So I'm working on this one video right now where I don't know if to call her a prostitute or escort or what. She's entitled to whatever profession.
Yeah, it's all semantics. They're all that way. They're all that way.
She's entitled to whatever lifestyle she chooses, but the thing about it is that it's this entitlement, this narcissism of a level that I have not seen in modern American time. I don't know if it's because I'm still kind of young or whatnot, but women nowadays are like, she's an escort or whatnot, and she's complaining that this guy came too quick. And I'm just thinking to myself...
Yeah, we were talking about that in 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago in my Hangout. Yeah.
And it's strange to me that, like, you're walking away with this guy's money. Like, you're getting paid to just simply spend time with the guy. Not have sex with the guy, but just simply spend time with him. So now you want his money, you want his time, and you want him to be compassionate when it comes to sex. But it's like you already got his money. He can't leave with your pussy. but you're leaving with his money. So at the end of the day, you're still walking away with more. And what did I get at the end of the night? I paid for a funky apparatus in between your legs that we're trying to pretend is the greatest thing, and it's actually some funky, fishy, smelly mess.
Well, the thing that we were talking about that I seen about it is I think it was like a girl trying to go viral, basically, because I don't think she was actually really a prostitute. I don't think she was actually really anybody, because first of all, depending on where she lived at, it's illegal. You know, I mean, like there's only like one state, and that's like Nevada, where she could actually be a prostitute. So if she's saying she's a prostitute and she's doing that online, it would be very easy for them to go arrest her. Secondly, if she did that, she was talking about a client that just left, he could sue her for defamation. You know, third of all, and the most damning part of it was she said he ate her pussy out really well. What kind of guy is going to come into a prostitute and eat a prostitute's pussy?
No one.
God knows what has been there.
Exactly. Who knows? God. I mean, she might have like 6 guys she's fucked today, and you're going to stick your tongue down there? No. So it sounds like what I think is the real story is she's probably a stay-at-home wife that never had any kids, and her husband's at work, and while he's at work, she's making these videos talking all kinds of bullshit, and he doesn't even know she has a YouTube channel. And she's trying to go viral saying all kinds of dumbass shit like that, thinking nobody's going to find out who she really is.
And she took the video down too, so
exactly.
It's an indicator to the level of probably more or less embarrassment and you know a small contribution to what she's doing because large because it's the whole fact that we see this woman and it's like, you know, she would otherwise be an attractive woman if she wasn't trying to virtually, you know, pull the feminist scam, which is if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. But if you're mean to me, I'm just gonna block you out of my. And it's like, okay, well, yeah. This you're misinterpreting what the internet is about, my dear. There are people on the internet who you don't have any control over. You know, if there are people out there who find you unattractive, there's nothing you can do about that. But you know, it's quite clear that, you know, most women are beyond the wall and they're still trying to find this fantasy. I don't know what this fantasy is. The picket fence, the dog, the kids. It's like, who's going to pay for all this shit? Are you going to pay for all this? Because
no, of course not. That's not their job. That's the man's job. The man is a utility to a woman, and that's what you're there to do. You're there to take care of her. And they breed you from the time you're just a child to know that when you grow up, you're going to get married, you're going to have kids, you're going to have to pay for the house, the wife, the kids, the car, everything. And when you can't pay for that anymore, they don't tell you also you're still going to have to pay for it once you get divorced. You know, and something like I was talking about in the last hangout that me and Frozen were in was the problem that they're having lately is that most like marriages now within the last like 20 years only last about 5 years. That's about 50% divorce. After 7 years, almost 100% divorce. So in the last 20 years, most kids are ending up being raised by the mother or by a stepfather or by many stepfathers where the girl dates some guy for a year and then breaks up, and then some other guy comes around, and then another guy, and they never really have any. Yeah, they never really have any father. So what's going to end up happening if you find some girl and have a kid with her is you're going to end up having your kid raised by some other dude. You know, so if you're going to make that decision that you want to have a kid with some girl, you need to realize that the fact is you're probably not going to be with her in 7 years. And your child is going to end up being raised by some other dude.
And not only that, but a lot of women misconstrue the fact that their children, more than less, are going to either grow up to be these enforcers of taking men's money, or they're going to be the ones who have money taken from them by some malicious woman. And I'm pretty sure that these women don't think beyond themselves, and when their sons get to that position where some chick is taking half their crap, I'm pretty sure they won't like that. But it's A-okay whenever their sons do it to someone else, or whenever their kids do something that, you know, other people wouldn't find too kindly in their favor. But of course, oh, it's my children, so therefore, and I'm going to teach my boys how to treat women, so they'll be the perfect man when they. And it's like it's not that simple. If it was that simple, we would have did it already. We would have been taught boys how not to rape and taught murderers how to not to murder, and teach black people how not to, like whatever fear you have of whatever race or whatever gender, you could have we would have taken care of it a long time ago. But obviously, these things are not that simple. So to just simply say, oh, we're going to teach boys how to act, that is not going to do shit for you except for make one gender, scared to even approach you, and the other gender completely narcissist. I'm telling you, it's a recipe for disaster. But,
This is implying that women went that way before they started trying to teach men this shit.
Pretty much. It's this fantasy. I don't know what this fantasy is.
Well, I can be anything.
Well, they like to watch movies. And they have this idea that movies are reality. They think they're really going to be able to have that kind of life that they see in some movie that they like. And the problem, like I was talking about, I did this in a video 3 times ago, I think. There's a video of a guy where he's talking about the fact that most men nowadays, from what I was telling you, don't actually have a platform of where they know what a relationship is supposed to be, because all children learn what a relationship is from watching their family, how their father reacts to their mother, things like that. That's how you learn what a relationship is supposed to be. And because of this situation that's been set up through law, through the family court systems, women have they don't have any skin in the game of just sleeping with some guy, marrying some guy. They don't really care because they know if they get divorced, they're going to be taken care of. So a lot of women don't care. So they get into the situation where we've set up this thing where women don't care if they stay married or not. So you've got kids that are growing up thinking that this is a normal thing now, and because of that, they don't have that basis to realize what a relationship is, and they watch movies, and they think that that's what they aspire to be, and they don't realize that that's just a movie. That's not reality.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing you mentioned this because I actually knew a girl that was like the perfect example of this shit. Like I used to work with her when I was at my first job. She was like 20 odd. I don't remember exactly how old at the time. I was only like 16, 17. And she's not very much to look at. She's dumb as a fucking bag of hammers. She did part-time work for like a legal office. And she was going for some kind of legal degree. I don't know exactly what. I didn't really pry because I wasn't interested in her at all. But she always had this like fantasy. She would first off, she tried to hit on my best friend all the time, and he's like, I could get way hotter bitches than you. Why the fuck would I want to deal with a 1 when I can at least get a 5 without trying, right? So, but she had this fantasy. If she couldn't get that, him, she just wait and hold out for was it some dude named fucking some pop star or some singer called Darius or some shit like that. I don't know offhand, because I don't fucking follow that crap. But she had this fantasy that she was going to lose her virginity to this dude. And I'm like, he's a fucking rich and famous dude. You're just some cunt, right? I was like, you might want to go get some other dick. Just saying. But no, she held on to it. She's like, no, he's going to fall in love with me and stuff. And when I heard that crap, I was just like, man, all right. It's just like, the little kid fantasy. Oh, when I grow up, I'm going to be a fucking astronaut, But no, she's a fucking grown woman having this shit. And I'm just like thinking, man, is she for real? I mean, no.
That's the thing, a lot of them are. A lot of them are for real.
Yeah, like I said, she's a perfect fucking example of this.
You have a lot of here, the Kim Kardashians and the Amber Roses and things like that. Very attractive women, but when it comes to, just looking at the whole picture, you're nothing more than a talentless hoe. Nothing more. I'm sorry. I mean, there are women out there, very talented, very, very capable. I'm not one of those guys who are like, especially in the business side of things, but in terms of seeing how most women make it, talentless, dude. This Amber Rose lady sitting next to Run DMC, an actual fucking legend, an actual person who actually did something with their lives. And she's like, well, I should be able to lay next to a man fully naked and expect him to just behave. And it's like, excuse me? First of all, why would I want to sleep next to a beautiful bitch and not be able to have the option to want to ravish you? Like, I would never put myself in that position. That is the stupidest. How many guys out there watching this broadcast want to lay next to a beautiful big titty twerking bitch and not be able to have the option to get your dick wet? Anyone?
Yeah.
Raise your show of hands. Anyone?
Maybe if you were gay.
It's like
if you were
it's
gay,
like
probably.
Well, even then, they probably want to grab the titties. Don't tell me that gay men don't like tits. All right?
Oh,
don't tell me that shit.
Boobs are like little play toys or something in front of you when you're like a little kid. But like when you take it to another level of, you know, some weird political, oh my god, I'm a slut. Don't call me a slut. And it's weird. It's fucking bizarre. Like, the slut walk is supposed to commemorate women wanting to be sexy and wanting to dress as sexy as they want. But what these girls have turned it into is this, don't look at me, but look at me. My boobs are out, but don't subjectify me to your constituents of hatred. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so... Just facepalm experience. Just
this is kind of why I just stopped giving a shit, like, at all. Like, it made I'm difficult.
I'm in the same basket you're in now.
I understand. If you're here, we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I am done.
Yeah. If you're on the round table, you kind of get it, you know. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no,
I don't get too many people that stop by here that are like, oh, but women are great and women are wonderful. It's like, no.
Women need to have their bullshit called out on.
Yeah. Just you got to shake the tree. You got to shake the tree and see what fruit falls down, you know. Yeah. I don't. The problem that I'm having is what I heard a few of my other friends talking about. I really want to start doing more videos on how to help. And for what I'm talking about, most of the stuff that I talk about, I think it helps just to have other people see. You know, when you're doing videos and, like, you know, young kids see them and they're 14, 15-year-old kids that haven't really got into dating women to the extent that they're going to have some shit fuck up in their lives. If you can catch them at that age and get them to be aware of what their future looks like, I think that's a good thing. But then on top of that, I think I want to start trying to do some videos where I explain, like, how to help, you know, because I think that's the biggest problem with the MGTOW movement. You know, like I've talked about it before in the psychiatric industry, some stuff that we try to do is when you have problems, like, say you're trying to quit smoking, if you just throw your pack of cigarettes away, you're going to crave cigarettes. You're going to want to go out and buy a pack. The best way to stop smoking or stop drinking is just to, like, buy a fifth of Jack or buy a pack of cigarettes and just put them on the cabinet and put the Jack on top of the refrigerator. If you know that it's there and you can drink it anytime you want, you have less of a chance of going and, like, drinking it and smoking it.
Very good point.
If you don't have it in your house, then you're wanting it all the time. So the point that I'm trying to get at is, you notice that most of the MGTOW want nothing to do with a woman. They don't want to date them. They don't want to marry them. They don't want to do anything with them. But they spend their entire life on the internet studying and talking about women. So it's like, why are you not talking about men and boys and the issues they're having to go through and the things that they're having to have problems with? Why is your entire life talking about the psyche of a woman? You know,
you're
focusing on women. You need to stop focusing on women and start focusing on men and how to help them. And I think that's a big problem in the MGTOW industry, where all they do is talk about women all day long. And it's like, well, if you're so disenfranchised or disassociated with women, then quit talking about them. You know, like, if I hate gay men, but I spend every waking moment reading and talking and searching about the psychology of a man that's gay, what the fuck is wrong with me? You know, it's like, stop. If you don't like gay men, then quit looking up shit on them. Quit talking about them. Quit thinking about them. Don't worry about them. Yeah, exactly. It's like, stop talking about them then. You know, and that's what I think. I think it's all right to do videos, you know, on like issues that have to do with women and telling like problems that men will have or problems that you've had or something like that. But when that's all that you talk about, I think that's going to become a problem, because lots of guys, once they wake up and they've taken the red pill and they realize what's going on, well, then there's no solutions. There's just problems. They just say, well, don't do this because women will do this, and don't do this, and women do this, and women do that. But then they're like, yeah, but what am I supposed to do then if I don't do that? And nobody's saying anything. There's no videos out there talking about that. So these guys are just left. These guys are just left there alone, knowing there's a bunch of issues, but not knowing what to do to resolve the problem.
Well, I'll say this to give my 2 cents out, because I'm a purple pillar at best. I'm a guy trapped in between two worlds. But you better believe when shit goes sideways, I got my MGTOW hammer and I got that glass, and I'm gonna break that son of a bitch and push that fucking going your own way button. But yeah. It's the whole fact that, you know, I'm raising my son right now, and a lot of what you're speaking about is so true, because I think oftentimes, who's going to teach my son about all this? Oh, it's supposed to be me, right? So I have to be the one, and I'm not going to war against feminism. I think that's, you know, whatever, to each his own. But something needs to be taught to these boys to help them, gear them to deal with all this, because I know what the emotional baggage is about. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to, you know, you don't want to go through life without a companion. But what's being sold in today's society? I refuse to get married under any circumstances. I don't give a damn who says what. Yeah. But when you look at the society, it's geared toward destroying men. I don't know where you guys are at right now, but I'm pretty sure you're pretty much in the same boat.
Yeah.
I'm such a destroyed man. I became a woman. So.
Yeah, me too. We're both trans. So,
yeah. So, I mean, that just gives you an example that there is a female privilege out there. If like you hear so many stories where the trans who go from women to men, they are now faced with so many adversities that they were not at one point faced with. Yeah. So there's a war against men. And I am worried as a father what my son's going to go through. So he has to learn, son, don't chase these women. Leave them alone as best you can. You got to focus on you. That's how you get the women. If you really want women, if you really want to go down that path of, you know, chasing pussy, then be your own man. Be your own destiny. Because I'm telling you right now.
For me, if I was, I'm a father too of 2 sons, and if I was going to give my sons birds and the bees talk, I'm MGTOW. So my birds and the bees talk would have very little to do about sex and more to do about female nature. You know, that's what I'd be telling my sons about.
That's the thing. We have to teach the children why you have to do the things that you do because of the maliciousness from women. And until it gets taught, until we start looking at both genders for what they bring to the table, instead of just concentrating on the evil boys and men, you know, it's like, it's so ridiculous. It's like we can't keep turning each other into boogeymen. Yes, all women are like that when you give them power, when you give them this gun and point it at men's heads, and they have the power and option to pull it whenever they want. So you have to teach these young boys, these young men, that giving your money to women, getting invested in this, is going to do nothing more than break you down. If you want to be broken down, if you want to be stuck on a plantation, then you be my guest. But it needs to be taught, and I think that would be the best place to start.
I think it would be really hard to do, but what I would like to see is I would like to see it taught in school. You know, that boys should be taught in schools when they're teaching sex education. But the problem that you're going to have is it's been this way for a long time, but 78% of teachers in schools and in colleges in the United States are women. So they're always talking about equality. But because of this, the problem that we're having as well is that most of the classes that should be geared towards teaching men about men's issues and, like, say, psychology, it's very hard to teach. Most women don't teach psychologists the way to work with boys, because That's why now we have like a skyrocketing of ADHD children in the United States, because women don't know how to deal with boys, and they don't realize that boys, that's the way boys are. They just run around, they play guns and robbers and stuff, and they don't know how to do with that. So they say, well, your child doesn't want to sit down and listen, so your child is ADHD and they need medication.
You should see the mother of my child with my son. It's like watching, like, if she doesn't have the boob, totally lost. Because the reason being is because when I have to raise my son, I actually have to engage with him. I have to actually, communicate with him on a level that, he could possibly understand. But with her, I could tell you right now, if I wasn't here, she would be so fucking lost, and my son would be in danger. My son would literally be in danger. Because it's like, you do not know how to raise a young man. You do not know what direction to give him. A young woman you barely know how to give direction to, because how are you going to keep her from getting caught up in the pimp game? It's not about the body, it's about the mind. And a woman is not out there, shopping around with her body simply because she's enjoying it. She's doing it because she's been played. And so the thing is that how do we teach? We have a responsibility on both sides, because obviously we have overabundance of women who don't have fathers, who seem that it's perfectly normal to put men on child support and alimony and things like this, and so no one really realizes that this is affecting the future. This is blatantly fucking affecting the future. You're turning women into easy victims who can be easily manipulated, and you're turning boys into suspects at every constituents. And now we have these prisons that are overflowed with men, and they want to bitch and complain about a rape culture. Well, look no further than American male prisons.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. It's a whole system designed toward destroying the American family, or destroying families, period, and making one side look like the bad guy. So when one side cries and complains, we'll all go, oh, up in arms. And it's like the Murray Show. If you've ever seen the Murray Show, it's the same shit every single time.
Yeah.
Girl comes out, oh, poor woman, trying to find out who the father of your child is.
Oh, you're the Maury Povich?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maury Povich? Yeah.
And then what happens?
They rag on the dude.
Right. The audience is all like, boo the man. The man comes out and he's all like, I'm just here to find out if I'm the father.
Yeah, and then in the end, he's not the father. And she brings out, and he comes out and sits on the thing and realizes there's 6 other guys coming out.
Oh my God.
And she doesn't know who the father is, and she's like, I'm sure it's that one dude. Well, then why'd you bring the other 5 out? And it ends up being none of them, because she's a fucking whore.
Even if it is the father, she just went 12 minutes talking shit about this guy.
Yeah.
But as soon as she finds out that it's the father, you're the father, she's up dancing and woohoo like it's the Super Bowl.
It's because she just got a lottery ticket. She just got a free lottery ticket. Now she knows who to take money out of. That's why.
It's not about the guy being a father. It's about woohoo, I have a resource to live off of, and that needs to change in this country. It needs to change everywhere.
Yeah,
and if
I can see if you're gonna have a baby, and you're gonna be with a woman or whatever, and then you leave her or you divorce, it needs to be set up in a way where you pay half of just the child. Like if he goes to school, you have to set up an itemized thing. The mother would have to set up an itemized thing, say how much she's spending on clothes, how much she's spending on food, how much she's spending on everything, and then you have to pay half, and that's it. I'm not paying for your house. I'm not paying for your car. I'm not paying for your Gucci fucking shoes. I'm not paying for your purse. I'm paying for my kid. That's it.
And they also have to. Anything they purchase for the child should have to be fucking proven.
Yeah.
Then because you know what's gonna happen if they do that shit. Oh well, it's going to the child, and then she's fucking doing that shit anyway.
Yeah, it's like, well, I had to buy a new car to take him to soccer practice.
Well, I've been paying rent. I pay rent. He doesn't help me out, that motherfucker, that piece of. And I'm like, why did you fuck this piece of shit motherfucker then? Like, why did you have sex with this bum loser that you're just gonna simply talk shit about?
Why did you think you needed a man to pay your rent? If you can't pay your rent on your own, then you need to move to a place that's cheaper so that you can pay your own rent. If you can't work and have a job that pays your own rent and pays your fucking car, then what the fuck are you doing with your life? It shows that they're looking for a utility. That's their problem.
You're
looking for a utility.
You were too good at that. Have you been practicing?
Because it's all I see whenever I look at feminists. It's like this thing in their neck that's like it's fuming. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, oh my god, it's so just radically annoying. It's like these. I don't even know what to call them. Far left, quote unquote, progressives. I'm using the quotes here.
We're not progressing anywhere with these fuckers.
No, you're progressing backwards. Is what you're doing.
That's what it is we're going backwards. We're not going forward. We keep concentrating on some of the most silliest issues instead of concentrating on actual issues that are tackling our children right now. It's like what you said. You know, 1/5 of our children are like ADD right now. That's a problem. And that largely has to do because fathers are not in these children's lives. We're destroying the families. We're doing everything that we can to just get men and women to go to war with each other. And it's very hard to prove that not all women are like that because of the simple fact that women's actions prove way more different than the whole, oh, darling, I'll stay with you forever, and we'll have kids, and we'll... But as soon as that fog clears... Everyone learns about what real marriage is about, and no one likes it.
Oh, they sell you on that fucking lie, man. Let me tell you,
it's too much work.
Probably know better than I do.
Problem. Most girls nowadays are so fucking lazy. They don't want to actually have. They don't want to do the work that it takes to be in a relationship. But like I was talking about in the other hangout, is the problem that we have is the situation that's been set up with the laws in the United States.
Yes.
It's set up in a way where women don't really. There's no reason why a woman shouldn't get married to anybody that will ask her and have a kid with anybody that will fuck her, because she's never gonna have any problems with that. She's gonna be able to get she's gonna be able to get like child support. She's gonna be able to get WIC. She's going to be able to get people that pay for her fucking utilities. She can get low-income housing. She can get all these fucking things if she has a kid. So they've set up a system where it behooves a woman to, as quickly as possible, whether she's got like a high school education or not, to find some guy to knock her up. Because as soon as she gets knocked up, now she can get welfare, and she can get WIC, and she can get all her shit paid for, and she could get the guy paying for her shit, and then she can go out and buy a car, and she can have a great life living off of somebody else's labor.
Yeah, who's paying for all the fucking welfare and WIC and all that shit?
It would have some guys.
That's the big thing that I talk about as well with I've talked about it a lot in a lot of the other hangouts, is guys don't realize just because you're MGTOW and you're not going to be with a woman and you're not going to be married doesn't mean you're not going to be paying for a woman. Because when you pay your taxes and they're fucking giving them welfare and low-income housing, that's coming out of your tax money. So they're still getting you. They're still, whether you're married to them or not. And it's not one woman that's getting you. It's all the women that are getting you in that case.
Oh, don't
so
get
they're on
me wrong.
the walls then.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. They're panicking right now. They are panicking so fucking much. These fucking feminists and these people in charge, these PC pleasers, as I like to call them. That's exactly what they're doing. That's what this whole Ghostbuster bullshit is about. Oh, it's just we're trying to please the PCs. That's all that is. It's not going to be a fun movie. It's not going to be an enjoyable movie. It's just going to be a movie full of propaganda.
I'm
never going to watch it. I've never seen the feminist. What is it? What was that movie that came out? The Mad Max.
I didn't even see that movie.
I'm never going to see that. I don't want to see it.
Saw it, but it's not. There's parts of it I liked, but most of it was disinteresting. Like, the only part I really fucking enjoyed was the one dude playing guitar that shoots fucking fire. Because say that fucking sentence and tell me it doesn't sound awesome. All right?
It sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I
heard he's strapped to the front of a fucking, like, a truck and everything, and he's like, it's fucking great.
Yeah, he came on some...
Cut the whole movie down to that, and then
Yeah, he came on some like Guitar World on YouTube or something, and he was talking about playing and how he was strapped up on the truck, and he was playing like a part, basically. He was acting really funny. Yeah, I liked that guy. He sounded like he was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there is one bit in the film where he's that dude's asleep. Like they all just kind of like chill because for whatever reason, I forget, the fucking movie's long as hell. But like he's asleep, and then there's something like, all right, we're all gonna go, and he's like, and he fucking just jumps up and he just starts doing it again, like he's really into it. It's like, man, that guy loves his job. I want that job in the apocalypse, man. I'll learn how to play guitar. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. I can already do that. I can already.
I'll definitely.
Oh, so we know what you're
definitely
doing.
be the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll be strapped on the truck. I already like playing like heavy metal and shit. So yeah.
Well, I'll definitely be the smoker of the group. So if we're in a post-apocalyptic world and you guys find any weed, please report to the True Sherm Division. That is highly, highly precious resource. So we need that.
Yeah.
I will become a scientist just to keep marijuana alive in a post-apocalyptic world. I will do whatever it must. I will save marijuana.
That's when all the stoners are gonna get together and be like, man, we need to fucking save the shit, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I'll be like, don't
Come
worry,
get it.
True, don't worry, True is here. I will save it. I will figure out a way. I need marijuana like heroines need fucking heroin. I want marijuana, damn it.
Well, if stoners can figure out how to make a bong like fucking out of anything, right? Imagine what they can fucking do in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Man,
They'll start smoking weed and forget they were building a bomb. They'll turn the bomb into a bong. They'll be like, what was this thing we're building? I think it's a bong, man.
Man, once this thing blows up, man, the war is over, man. War is over.
Yeah.
What are you guys referring to?
Mad Max and the apocalypse and weed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
By the
threw
way,
weed in
what
there
is the topic
because
of the room?
It's important. It's
Oh, it's like anti-feminism.
Anti-fem. Okay. No, I tried to join another room and they had a link to this room and I just clicked on it and I don't know what the room's about.
Yeah.
oh, did it come from the previous chat that we were in? Huh. Breadcrumbs.
No, I was in the atheist debate room, not Nadia's room.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got you. She must have shared the link around then. Cool. Thanks, bitch.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah, she was saying she
So
might
does this
come on.
room have a recurring theme?
No.
Apparently,
Just-
sogginess in the knees is the recurring theme.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind
Basically, every week we talk about crazy stories that have came out about things women are doing. You know, like this week we were talking about the crazy bitch up in Russia that chopped the head off the baby.
Yeah. Well, out of any large population of people, you're going to have a small percentage doing deviant things.
yeah, it's just bound to happen.
Yeah, the problem that we have with it isn't that she did it. The problem that we have with it is that all the outlets and even the police are trying to say that it wasn't her fault, even though she was schizophrenic and all this stuff. They're trying to find the boyfriend that she had and pin it on him and say it was his fault, that he radicalized her and turned her Muslim, and that he didn't actually like have anything to do with the baby's death at all. But obviously it was a man's fault because it would never be a woman's fault for doing something like that, which is
because
a
of
typical
penis.
thing that they do. Yeah, it's always the men's fault because of penis, you know?
Yeah. At
Yeah.
this point, they're just making my job way the fuck easier. Like I just have to show up. Like
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
have
There's so many things we find like that where every time a woman does something wrong, it's always pinned on a man. They can always take it back to, well, it was a man that did it and it's a man's fault. And blame men and men are bad, and, you know.
Well, I would put it this way, that if they have the opportunity to try to give an excuse, they do. There are times that they don't. You know, I'm trying to remember the name of the woman. She drowned her 2 kids. This is about like 10 or 15 years ago. She drove the car into a lake and then said it was her kids were kidnapped, and they didn't try to make excuses because they couldn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
That was didn't South Park fucking try to make fun of that at one point?
I don't
With,
know.
They make
yeah,
fun of everything. I love them.
yeah, yeah, like Butters catches his dad having gay sex in bathhouses, so he takes pictures of it, shows it to his mom, and the way to solve the solution is to fucking kill Butters, so she just drives him into a river and like everything's all cool. They blame it on some Puerto Rican guy.
Well, I don't have any respect for the news media anyway. I mean, they just they don't even make a pretense of being objective anymore or trying to be objective.
Oh. Thanks, Lal. Susan Smith was her name apparently, according to the chat.
That's it. That's her.
Oh, what a bitch. Sorry, what? Who said that? Wait, I can get away with it. Never mind. What are they gonna do? Yeah. Fucking accuse me of being a white cis male? Yeah, good luck with that shit.
Yeah, I've been in a few hangouts with people and stuff, and they'll be saying stuff, and I'll say something, and they'll be like, "You're just a white like male, and you don't know," and shit like that. Because I have a couple feminists in there or something. I'm like, first of all, I'm half Japanese. Second of all, I'm trans. So fuck you.
Well. All you have to do is when somebody does something like that is just start asking them a few questions, and you say, well, what is this standard that you're saying that I'm obligated to? And then what you do is you just have simple questions to have them try to defend their worldview, because anytime somebody is saying that you should or shouldn't do something, say good. Tell me why I am obligated to that. And most people could not defend their position of shoulds and shouldn'ts.
Yep.
Either they're going to point to an absolute standard, or they won't.
Yeah, what I usually end up finding is a lot of them they end up fighting, like pointing to people in other countries, like they'll say something about women having it bad, and then you'll ask them like, where do they have it bad, and they're like, oh well, there's women that have their like clits cut and all this stuff, and I'm like, you're talking about Africa, right? And they're like, yeah, well I'm talking about America. Do they do that in America? They're like, no. I'm like, well, who does that in America? Don't they do that to boys in America? Don't they cut off boys' penises in America? Don't you think maybe we might want to talk about the fact that they circumcise boys in America and still do it?
No, this thing way the fuck over there that doesn't directly affect you is the bigger problem.
Yeah, they're having issues over in Africa, and I live in America, and I've never even been to Africa. But I'm fighting for women's rights, but not women's rights in America. I'm fucking with men's rights in America and men's issues, and then I'm saying it's to help out women. But then when I'm pressed on the issue, it's not women in America, it's women in Africa.
Do you think that circumcision? Do you think that circumcision is a one-to-one comparison to the genital mutilation that occurs in other countries?
Yeah.
I could argue yes or no either way.
Well, when you have for example, if you have genital mutilation in females, the labia is functional. Okay, if they do a clitoral-ectomy, that has functionality. The foreskin is non-functional.
Yeah, but something else that I don't know. I think I talked about it before with you, Frozen. Is there's I didn't even know about this until I heard about it like 2 months ago. The Jewish people that do the circumcisions on babies, they actually, and they had some people that talked about it and said that they need to stop doing this, and they said it's part of our heritage and blah blah blah. They actually cut off the foreskin and then they suck it off, and because they suck it off and like put it in their, they put the penis in their mouth, they're having a problem with many of the babies have actually contracted venereal diseases. from
Yeah, I
these
heard there
guys.
wasn't there one of hepatitis or some shit like that?
Yeah, there was hepatitis, and there was also gonorrhea and some other things from these priests doing that kind of shit. These Jewish ministers or whatever the fuck they're called. Yeah, so they were having some big issues from doing some shit like that.
I was just on a stream fucking yesterday where someone mentioned that being anti-circumcision is anti-Semitic. Like that was the
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, what in the fuck are you talking about? I was like, that's just
Yeah.
that's equally as valid as saying being anti-circumcision is against fucking Kellogg's cornflakes.
Yeah.
Because
Well, the thing about saying that is it's only anti-Semite or whatever if you're talking about telling like Jewish people that they can't circumcise their children, but it's not anti-Semite if you're talking about people who aren't Jewish that decide not to do it. You know?
How many grown adult men do you think are upset over the fact that they were circumcised?
Fucking
A lot.
I didn't
this
ask
one.
you. I said how many.
I wouldn't know.
See, most of the men I know are English and they haven't been circumcised, so they don't practice that in England.
I live in Japan and like they don't circumcise here, so that you'd be hard pressed to find many men here in Japan that have been circumcised.
Now, ask how many adult men that haven't been circumcised if they volunteer for it. Well, I do live in the States, and I've been circumcised myself. So.
Yeah, and I actually lived in the same state she lived in, and I was circumcised as well.
Yeah, I'd rather have not been circumcised if I had given the choice, but I was never given the fucking choice.
Exactly, that's the main point.
Yep. If it was an adult thing and I could be, and they say, hey, here's a thing, and I was given proper information on it, and I could make a proper decision, I probably still wouldn't have done it. I in fact resent the fact that I was not offered a choice.
That may be your position, but I think that it would be my guess that the majority of men who are circumcised, for example, in the States, would not have preferred that it was otherwise.
Well, I think it's more if that was the case, it would mainly be the case because it was like the way I put it is it's like the people that cut the tails off the end of dogs and crop their ears. It's not about anything that has to do with health. It's about the way.
Oh, well, absolutely, it does. In fact,
it's about the way it looks, and they're trying to make it look better for women. You know,
no,
and that's a problem I see.
No, it's more hygienic to be circircumcised than not to be.
They say that, but that's actually not the case.
Also, you should know that there is a much higher rate of diseases such as cervical cancer and other types of infections with women whose men are not circumcised in comparison with control groups where the males are circumcised.
Yeah, these are things they talk about a lot, but that's.
No, these are hard statistics.
Well, these are things that we don't have happening here in Japan, the
foreskin is a natural trap for bacteria and other pathogens that can be transmitted via sexual intercourse. Now, when they've done studies in the past in Jewish groups, among all the men have been regularly circumcised, you find much lower rates of certain types of infections or diseases than you do in non-circumcised groups.
Then so why is education?
But the bottom line is there is a strong hygienic factor, and the reason why many people, and I can only speak for in the States, who do opt for that.
Then why is education on being having proper hygiene not a priority then?
Yeah, exactly.
That's up to other people. I don't.
If you were circumcised, it would stop you from having masturbation.
I don't object.
That's what it started on.
I don't object to people's circumcising or not circumcising. That's up to them.
There was actually a bunch of videos that came out, like the Reefer Madness kind of movies that came out in the 30s, where they were talking about circumcising boys to stop them from wanting to masturbate.
That's where the Kellogg's cornflakes reference came from, because fucking what's his face, Kellogg fucking was one of the people pushing that. That's where he tried to push Kellogg's cornflakes as some sort of anti-masturbatory fucking food.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's some, yeah. The idea of the sexual ideas in the United States and in other countries when it comes to boys is pretty fucked up in their head, and there's a lot of people that think they know what they're
to what standard?
to
According
just
some
to just normal normal people.
Well, okay, normal according to what standard?
To what average people do.
Oh, okay. So the statistical average is always the right thing.
Well, yeah, if you're talking about a major.
Okay, good.
Group.
So in other words, whatever actions or social customs become dominant, then according to your definition, if you're going to be consistent, is what is right.
Yeah.
Not always.
Not always. It depends on what it is, but yeah, pretty much.
Because if murder was the fucking the norm.
Okay, hold on a second. Right? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You're not being consistent here, right? Now, you told me what things that are good or right for a social custom are those things that are normal. What is normal is what you described as a statistical average. Now, if it's something other than a statistical average, you're going to have to explain what that is.
See, I just see this as the argument of tradition, though. I mean,
yeah, that's all it is.
No, okay. What I'm saying to you, when you object to somebody other's conduct, doesn't matter whether it's circumcision, it could be anything.
Sure.
When you object to somebody else's conduct, other than it being your personal taste, if you're going to say that it is bad or wrong, you're going to have a grounding or a foundation. Okay? In order to say something is crooked, you have to have a standard of that which is right. Okay?
I already stated my case for that, and it should be down to making the individual making that choice, not someone else making that choice for them.
Good. Then he cannot claim that what somebody else is doing is wrong or bad. All he can say is, I wouldn't do that. I don't like that.
Yeah, but then that doesn't justify someone else making that choice for you, though.
No, he was referring to the conduct of others. The behavior in question is not really relevant. If you are going to criticize somebody else's behavior as being bad or wrong, and in this case you said not, let me just see your screen name, MG. You said that it was fucked up. Well, I said according to what standard? Is that just your personal preference, or is there something external to your personal likes or dislikes that would make it wrong?
Sorry, having a bit of a think. You posed a good question. That's the thing.
See, now, if there's an objective standard by which people can agree with, then they have a basis to say that something deviates it from. Now, for in the case of, let's say, Western civilization, many people in Western civilization are theists, and they believe that our mental makeup, our behavior, and our mores, at least our base mores, would be a creation of God or the Creator. Now, if people agree upon that, then the character or nature of that Creator would be the standard by which everything is measured. If one does not agree with that, then they're going to have to come up with a standard that they would appeal to. Now, the best that they're going to be able to do is to make an appeal to some type of consensus, plurality, or majority. But as we know from human history, people's outlook, or majority opinion changes, even from generation to generation. So, on what basis do we condemn somebody else's conduct?
Well, I would say it'd have to do with if whatever it is, no matter how many people are involved or invested in it, if it negatively affects society.
Negatively, according to whose opinion? Okay, and where is society? See, what you've done now, you've erected society as the paradigm. Society is not an unchanging, immutable monolith. Society is just simply certain social practices and customs.
Sorry,
I mean, when you're talking about something like murder or killing people, then society has stated that you shouldn't be doing that. You know, if you're talking
well,
about...
let's see. 100 years ago, abortion was illegal in the United States. Now in the United States, it is legal. So the majority society has permitted through the ballot box abortion. 100 years ago, it would have been unthinkable. So which society are you referring to?
The current society.
Oh, okay. So what happens 50 years from now if there is a societal shift and they say that certain behaviors are, quote, negative, but it differs from a previous one?
See, now we're getting into what-ifisms.
Yeah. It changes. You can't.
But you see, when
70
you
years
appeal
ago,
to
they thought
society,
blacks shouldn't be on the same place in the buses, and they shouldn't drink the same water. 50 years from now, it doesn't matter.
When you say
what's going on right
society, when you say society is the paradigm for what is good or bad, positive or negative, that is a foundation of sand. All it is it depends on a majority or a plurality of people. Have you ever heard the expression, what is socially fashionable?
Yeah.
Yes, of
now,
course.
what you are appealing to is what is called what is socially fashionable. Now, those aren't your words, and that wasn't in your intent. But when you make an appeal to the majority opinion in a society, you are nonetheless appealing to what is socially fashionable in a given majority of a population of people.
Well, then that's the exact same thing that we're talking about when we're talking about circumcision.
Good.
It's socially fashionable.
Then all you're appealing to is a plurality or a majority of a given people. So what you're saying is majority vote wins. What if we have a situation, let's say in the United States, and I can only speak from my reference of being in the United States. What if we have a majority of people in the United States decide that, let's say, black people cannot eat in fast food restaurants with whites? What if a majority of people decide that? Well, according to what you just said, well, then that's correct.
Well, it was correct in about 70 years ago in fucking Mississippi.
Right now. Well, then is correct is not something that is absolute or invariant. What you're saying is the word correct equals majority opinion. That's all you're saying.
See, be clear, I'm not saying that. I'm saying what's correct is
no, I didn't say you. I didn't say you said it.
I know. I'm just clarifying that because I'm not making this point.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from, though.
Yeah, well, see, many people want to have this notion of right and wrong. Well, let me, for example, in my debates in the atheist rooms with some people, they'll make remarks like, I'm trying to remember the exact quotation. They'll say, "Oh, well, we have rights," and I'll say, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Because rights presuppose a statutory basis. Are you referring to something that's explicit in state law or federal law, or do you have some moral notion that you think is the right?" And the thing had something to do. I'm trying to remember what the context was. They weren't actually appealing to federal or state statutes. It was just a moral sense that they had that people should be entitled to. And I said, well, then it's not a right. I said, because if you don't have a statutory basis, then it's not a right, even though you think people should be entitled to whatever. You see, my position where I'm coming from in my worldview is without a supreme lawgiver and a lawgiver who has an immutable, unchanging character, then there is no basis for objective morality. And all such notions of morality would just be the ever-shifting sands of a desert.
Yeah, but that would imply that there is no room for change, and society does change over time. Things change with time.
People change, yes.
Yeah, people change, and then society as a whole changes because of individuals change.
So when somebody says something is wrong, all you're simply saying is this action is not socially fashionable to a majority of people.
Sure. Then we get into the argument of absolute versus objective morality.
Yeah. Well,
You can't.
Unless somebody is appealing to an objective source, an unchanging, immutable source that it would be binding and obligatory. Unless somebody is doing so, then you're simply left with making an appeal to some other source. In this case, if you're appealing to society, all you're appealing to would be a majority vote or a plurality in a given community.
No, I get you. That's why I'm not making this argument.
Yeah. See, this is why I laugh. We have I was dialoguing with some atheists, and he says that well, Christians are bigoted because they won't vote for atheists for public office. And I said, really? I said, how about the fact that there are religious people in the United States who want their high government officials to at least hold to the idea that the Declaration of Independence put forth. I said, if somebody, rejects some of the basic ideas of the Declaration of Independence, I said, so you're typifying them as being merely bigoted really isn't justified.
Well, hang on. How do I word what I was going to say? Isn't bigotry more about the intent rather than fuck, I lost my wording. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can like people say, people accuse me of hating women all the time, right? I'm just going to use that as an example. But wouldn't my hatred of women come from my intent of what I say, right? If I'm criticizing women, I don't necessarily hate them, right? Okay, maybe they have behaviors that I don't like.
What you need to do is
certain women, right? Not all women.
All you need to do is to pull the rug out from underneath them. Is just say, why is that a problem?
That is true.
Okay, and then they're going to have to justify that hatred is problematic from their worldview. And then you'll say, well, don't you think hatred is wrong? And say, well, it's besides the fact whether I like or dislike or think hatred is wrong. You're saying that hatred is wrong. According to what standard?
Not wrong. And it depends on what you apply it to. Hence the intent.
That's my point.
Mm-hmm. Sure. No, I agree with you.
That's why in Western civilization, we're having these enormous societal shifts because we are moving. Last 100 years or so, we're moving from a theistic worldview to a non-theistic, and that's why there's all these arguments over morality and laws and things. When Western civilization was far more theistic, you didn't have a lot of these disputes.
Yeah, but that's still applying to what society deems acceptable. If society's theistic or
100 years ago in the United States.
Oh, sorry.
They're.
I can still hear you though. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, 100 years ago there were not a lot of these legal battles and moral disputes.
Regarding what specifically, though?
Well, let's just start with the Declaration of Independence. When the Founding Fathers objected to certain practices of the king, they basically said the king is not an authority unto himself. That the Founding Fathers believed that we had certain inalienable rights, and even though the king may have attempted to suppress those, they nonetheless existed because they were endowed by a creator. Now, if you dispel that notion, then anything goes as to what rights are in a given society. And so, you see, when the Founding Fathers were battling against King George, God was considered to be an objective external reality that is the anchor to creation. But today, the concept of God is not considered to be an objective reality. It is just considered, well, that's a belief. And so now we just have this never-ending shifting sands as to what is right. And so all someone can appeal to is either a popular vote, society in quotation marks, or they would have to appeal to some statutory basis.
See, I don't believe I actually don't believe in the popular vote, at least for electing officials. But
that's not what was I referring to. I was just referring to the majority or a plurality of a given group of what they like or dislike.
Sure. The problem with appealing to what's popular is a lot of people are either ill-informed, either willingly or through the means of how they're informed. Like, because they can have information omitted. With regard to circumcision, as you said earlier, there were you would argue that there were men who would say that they would still go ahead with it if given the choice. If they wouldn't object to it, right? Now, is that because they have researched it themselves and said, "Oh, okay, this is a good thing," or have they been told misinformation? See, that seems to be the important part of it. Why are they making the decision? Not the fact that they made one.
Well, the bottom line is, if you're going to say something is wrong, anybody, then you're going to have to provide a groundwork for it or a basis. Okay.
See, and I did at least for my argument, which was that it's wrong because in this case the individual has no consent in this particular thing.
From your worldview, okay, and I'm just doing this out not to be argumentative or to antagonize you, just to provoke you to think. From your worldview, why is anything wrong?
That's really more. I think that's a question that's beyond the scope of this thing.
Well, if we're going to say something is wrong, we are presuming that there is a right. Wrong is only a deviation of the right. Crooked is a deviation of the straight.
This implies that there's only one way to be wrong or right. There are plenty of ways to be right or wrong.
Well, let's put it this way: in human reasoning, okay, and thinking, there are certain ideas that are basic, but that are assumed by all parties, but aren't stated. Okay, and those would be the laws of logic. Okay. So whenever we're reasoning about something, arguing, agreeing, disagreeing, we are unknowingly or knowingly affirming the principle of identity, that A equals A, that A does not equal negative A or not A. So when you're going to say, well, that's wrong, and say, well, why is it wrong? And say, because that's a deviation of the right. Okay, so you have a contradiction there. So when you say something is wrong, it contradicts what's right, right?
Sure.
So somebody's going to have to have a foundation or a basis for when they say you should not do this, you should do that. They have to see when someone says that's wrong or you shouldn't do that, they are implying that there is an obligation to behave in a certain way.
See, why can't it be that we shouldn't do this because it leaves the interpretation of what we should do up to people making the decisions.
Because if you say to somebody else you shouldn't do that, then you're either appealing to an external standard which is obligatory, or you're appealing to that person's own preferences and tastes.
Well, shouldn't it just rely on the facts?
What facts?
I'm just saying in general. I don't know.
All observations of reality, and I'm not trying to be philosophical here, but all observations of reality are theory-laden.
Sure.
Okay? So people don't see facts neutrally. So when you say you shouldn't do that because it harms somebody, and you're saying, okay, so what they're saying is you have an obligation not to harm somebody. Say, why do I have that obligation?
Depends on what. It depends on what kind of harm you're causing. Because say if we're going to war, and you have to cause harm in a war. It's part of the
Okay,
contract.
well,
Right?
that would be a different situation. But let's say we're not talking
Sure.
about war. What I'm saying to you
I'm just saying.
is, if anybody says to you or to me, you should not do that, that's wrong. Okay? They're thinking of some type of something objective, or they're appealing to something subjective. All right? When you say you shouldn't do that, you are implying, and when I say you, I don't mean you specifically, but anybody.
No, it's genuine.
You are either knowingly or unknowingly saying you are obligated to comport yourself according to this way of behaving. Well, just simply say, why am I obligated? They'll say, well, if you don't do that way, you'll end up in jail. Well, then all that person is simply doing is giving me a pragmatic consideration. Well, what if I wouldn't end up in jail? Right? Well, other people wouldn't like it. Okay, so? You see, the reason why this is so foreign to most people, and I'll give you my worldview. I'm a theist, and I believe that all human beings are made in the image and likeness of God. And I think that the Creator has endowed our mental framework with certain base moral concepts that are consistent with His nature, and that it's an integral part of our intellect that we can't get rid of any more than a dog can get rid of the habit of smelling everything, right? It's a part of our nature. But if that is denied, if that is rejected, then nothing can be demonstrated to be wrong in an absolute sense. All you can simply say is, what most people end up saying is, well, that would conflict with majority opinion.
No, I would argue. What basis are you saying that there's a creator that's endued us with these properties?
I just said that was my worldview. I didn't give you an argument for it. I just said that would be my worldview as to why people think the way they do about morality.
Ah, okay, all right, I misunderstood.
Yeah, I don't know about. I think Frozen is too, but I don't know. Just to give you a heads up, both of us are atheists, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, how do you define atheism?
I don't have. I'm not Gnostic atheist, so I don't believe that. Sorry, I don't believe in a god because I don't know if there is one.
Okay.
I can't.
Well,
I'd like to be proven wrong on that. That'd be great, but
okay.
It'd have to be. I don't. But I'm not the person to define what sort of tests there are. I don't think I have the tools for that.
Well, you can't prove a negative. That's the problem.
There's a couple of different definitions of atheism. The traditional, historical, and standard definition is that there are no gods or a god. Okay, that's the standard historical one. If you go to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Now, there's another definition that is getting popular on the internet with a lot of atheists, that atheism is not a proposition that there is no God, but that atheism is a state of mind where one has an absence of a positive belief in God due to insufficient reasons. Now, that definition that is used is problematic. Now, notice I didn't say it's wrong. It's very problematic because it's indistinguishable from agnosticism. So when somebody says I'm an atheist, they're not making a claim about reality. They're just telling you about their personal mental state.
Sorry, to correct myself, I meant to say agnostic atheist earlier, not gnostic theism.
Well, that's problematic as well. Just to call oneself an agnostic atheist is problematic. Okay?
But I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's only problematic if you believe that there's a deity that lives in the sky.
No, it wouldn't. Even if I didn't believe in a god, it would still be problematic. Here, I'll demonstrate it for you. Frozen, define for me atheism.
as I said, I don't think I'm I have the tool set to do that.
Well,
I just find
you
it
said you're an agnostic atheist.
non-belief non-belief in deity or deities. So the traditional definition, as you had
Okay,
said.
so you have a non-belief. So you could be classified as a non-theist. But if you're
Yes.
going to define atheism as a lack of belief in God, and you're going to couple with it the word agnostic, the word agnostic means I don't know.
I don't know. How
Okay,
how
good.
would you propose I would know?
So when you say I don't know, I have a lack of belief. That's a redundancy.
But
there's no need to add agnostic to atheism. If atheism means the absence of an affirmation, a lack of belief in God, well, all agnostics, when an agnostic says I don't know if there's a God, by virtue of that statement, it consists of a lack of belief.
Because they're on Gnostic theists, so I've been up for like fucking 30 hours. So if I make mistakes, I apologize. There are people who are Gnostic theists.
No, that's a contradiction in terms.
Please let me finish.
Sure, I'm sorry.
There are what we call Gnostic theists who claim that they know there's no God. Now, I don't agree with that because I want to see their proof and their knowing. It's no different to me than saying that there is a God. It's the exact same claim, except it's
under the standard and historical definition of atheism, that is a propositional content that there is no God. Adding agnostic to atheist or theist is very problematic.
I believe there's no God. I don't know if there's a God, or not. See, I can't prove that. As I said, I do not have the tool set to do this.
Okay, well, no is a subset of belief.
But just because I don't know, just because I do or do not know, does it?
Okay, well, there's three positions one can have toward the existence of a deity or a God. You either affirm, deny, or you withhold judgment. Those are three positions. The idea on the internet that people are saying that there's all these different positions, agnostic atheist, Gnostic atheist, Gnostic theist, this is how shall I put this? It's nonsense, right? Right?
It's only nonsense if you believe there is some God watching you.
See, I'm
okay, well, that would be a different subject. That would be a different subject. What you would be saying is that the belief or the inference that there is an eternal creator is nonsense. That would be a different subject. Now, how would you defend that claim?
I said.
Well, that's the problem. I don't have to. The way it works is you're the one making the claim. You're the one making the claim that there is such a thing as a deity. Therefore, it's under your claim that you have to tell me what is facts. I don't have to believe anything you're talking about. If you want to make a claim that there's a God, then show me that there's a God. If you can't show me that there's a God, then I have no reason to believe you.
Okay, good. Now, do you agree that everybody who makes a positive claim about reality has a burden of proof?
No, if you're claiming a double negative, no.
See, no, hang on. Yeah, double negative equal positive. Sorry.
No, like anybody who makes a okay, let me rephrase the question to you. If anybody asserts a proposition about reality, excuse me. If anybody makes a propositional statement external to their mind, do they have a burden of proof?
I would expect them to demonstrate it, yes.
Okay, what about you, MG?
Yeah, if you're gonna make some claim.
Okay, so if somebody says God does,
society,
if somebody says God does or does not exist, both of those parties have a burden of proof.
I'm not saying I know that.
No, I'm not. I don't think that's true. If you're an atheist, you're just saying that there's not enough proof, and I'm not going to even waste my mental capacity.
Did you hear what you didn't hear what I said? I'll repeat it for you, okay? If somebody state God does or does not exist, both of those claims require support.
That's bullshit.
That's
bullshit.
No, that's what I mean.
If you claim that there is a unicorn, and I say I don't believe in unicorns, I don't have a claim to have to try to prove that there's no such thing as unicorns. That's retarded.
Okay, you're not understanding this. You not accepting my claim is not you making a proposition. If you say, I see insufficient reasons to make a positive belief in unicorns, is not the same thing as saying there are no unicorns. You're confusing a state of mind with a proposition that something is either true or false.
Well, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about
Okay,
atheism.
the standard definition of atheism is the position. The historical one is that there is no God. The Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. I could cite for you other encyclopedias of philosophy. I could cite for you the Encyclopedia Britannica. I could cite for you the Rutledge. I mean, I don't want to overload you here with the sources, but the standard usage.
The thing that
Let
you're
me
not
just finish.
understanding is that it's
Okay,
not
so you're
us.
using.
You're talking to us. You're not talking to the Stanford.
Okay, you said it's nonsense to believe in God. So what you're saying then?
It's nonsense for me. Yes.
It's not. It would be nonsense for me without proof. If there was sufficient proof, then I would be. I would be nonsense. I would have the position of nonsense.
Is it irrational for anybody to conclude or infer that there is a God?
I would say yes.
Okay, can you please support that?
Because there's no proof that it's true.
Excellent. Okay, so it's your position that there is no evidence for God, correct?
Right.
See,
Okay, good. Now,
do you
understand that the phrase "there is no God"? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Frozen.
No, I would say this kind of gets into territory of how do you actually prove it, because being that we only have the senses that we are given, maybe the proof is outside of our senses, outside of our level of technology, and it's always going to be out of reach. How do we go about proving that? So I can argue for the other side too, but I still don't take their position because it's still on them to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, when the statement "there is no God" is propositional, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're making a declaration about a state of affairs in reality. Now, the statement "there is no evidence for God," MG, is that a propositional statement?
I don't know. I would just say.
Well, the answer is yes.
When we're talking about this, I'm talking about from a personal level. Most people that believe there is or isn't a God, it's a personal thing. And when you're talking to atheists, atheism means different things to different people.
Okay, good. Well, you see, that's why we need to nail down the meaning of words. Now, if you and I are homicide detectives and we walk into a room and there's a dead body and there's a handgun on the floor, there's a difference between me saying to you, that gun is not evidence of the homicide. Now, what if I said to you, I don't know if that gun is the homicide weapon? Those are two entirely different statements. The first statement I gave to you is propositional. I am making a statement of fact about what is or is not that gun. In my second statement to you, I am simply telling you I have a thought in my head. I'm not aware that that gun is or is not the murder weapon.
Yeah, but
okay?
the thing that you're missing
if you say
is a gun present.
If you say that there is no evidence for God, that is an entirely different statement than saying I don't know of any evidence for God. The first one is a proposition. The second one is a mere state of mind.
I would say in my case both of them are right, because what I'm talking about is the fact that in both of those cases that you've just given, there is actually a gun present. In the cases that we're talking about, there is no God present.
Okay, well we're not discussing God per se. What we are discussing is evidence of or for God. Now, when you say there is no evidence for God, either that statement is a proposition or it is not. Now, in your understanding, MG, is that statement propositional or not?
I would say not.
Okay, well you're incorrect. It's a proposition.
See, in the case of the gun, though, in the case of the gun, we go about proving that the gun was actually used in the crime.
No. The gun is sitting there on the floor. The gun has not been tested. We have just walked into the room. It is just an analogy. Okay?
Sure. Sure, but I'm
Okay,
just saying,
so
as part of this analogy, though, as compared to, say, the belief in God or whatever, we would actually do the investigation to prove it either way.
okay,
There
the
is
bottom
actually a
line, the bottom
physical
line
God
We
is,
would build
present.
a
bottom line
case
is
up for it.
propositions are either true or false. The moon is made out of green cheese. That proposition is either true or false. Now, if I tell you I think that the moon might be made of green cheese, I'm just simply telling you an idea that what I think. Okay?
But see,
Now,
when you do that, and we have evidence of that, and so we go to the moon and we collect samples.
we're not discussing whether the moon is or is not made of green cheese. What we're discussing is the statement a proposition? You see, this is a mistake, an error in thinking that many atheists have. That they don't want to say there is no God, right? And the reason why is the moment you say there is no God, most atheists are aware of the fact that that is propositional in nature, right? Is
Yeah,
not
'cause
the statement there is no God a proposition?
I'm not. I've been saying
They're
there's no God for years.
Okay, good. That's a proposition.
And and if I say there's no God, I'm expected to prove it.
Okay.
How do you go about proving that?
Okay. Well, that's another issue. The first hurdle that we have to cross is we have to come onto an agreement. Do propositions require support? Now,
Yes.
either you accept that or you don't.
I would say yes.
Okay, what about you, MG? Are propositional statements, do they require a support or defense?
I would say it depends on what they're for.
No, propositions have a truth that they're truth value statements in the external world. All right? A proposition is not like I like strawberry ice cream. For example, if I said to you, that would be your state of mind. There's a difference between my having an idea that I am verbalizing in my head versus a stated proposition, right?
But see, you can have an idea and it can be wrong
Well, that's
because
true.
You have
But
an
if I
idea does not make it correct.
if I say to you, I think that the strawberry ice cream is melted, right? Even though the strawberry ice cream may not be melted, I am still expressing a statement that it's true because I think that. Now, if you're going to isolate, if you're going to remove from that statement the ice cream has melted, that would be propositional. So when somebody says there is no God, that is a proposition. If somebody says I do not have a positive affirmation in the existence of God due to the insufficiency of evidence, that's not propositional. That's a state of mind. Okay? All propositions, whether one wants to admit it or not, require a support or a defense. Okay? So if you say there is no God, you are not merely saying I lack a positive affirmation in the existence of God. What you are saying, in fact, is that no God exists in reality. Right? So when somebody says there is a God and somebody says there is not a God, both of those statements are proposition and require support. If I come up to somebody and I say, you know, there is a God, and somebody says, well, I don't accept that. I do not see any good reasons to believe that a God exists. That is not a denial that there is a God. All they're just simply saying is, you haven't given me a good reason to affirm that there is a God. Right?
Sure, and I think that
So are we
would be
clear on the difference between a proposition and a state of mind?
Sure. See, and I would take that position as being very rational because you're still open-minded to the possibility of being wrong.
Well, then it wouldn't be classical atheism then.
That would be
it would be agnosticism. It would be agnosticism. Now,
Yeah, but
the statement "there is no evidence for God" is a propositional statement. This is something that cannot be denied. It's a proposition.
But then that's when you add stipulations like I have done. There's no evidence for God that I can
Okay, good. Now, if somebody wants to clarify that statement and say, well, what I mean by that is that I am unaware of it. Okay? Now, if somebody means when somebody says there is no evidence for God, if what they really mean saying I am